Hello, everyone. This is Renee Piane and
Clayton
Clayton.
Norcross. Hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome back to Love Tips with Renee and Clayton. And every week we talk about some spicy topic that can really help a lot of people. And this one's kind of an important one, Clayton. I mean, where you are today compared to where you were months ago, really, you've completely changed your energy state. You've changed your conversations. And I think that that's what we're going to talk about is your unique sound effect and how it affects the way people feel when they're around you, especially if you're going through a shitstorm breakup or divorce. It's like, ah. So where are you at right now, Clay? I know you're doing really great. You look great. You're looking great.
You. As do you. I like your new bust. That's very beautiful.
I have to get new stuff. You know, I'm a look designer.
Well, what's really evident to me is, in the first couple of months when I was experiencing a lot of sorrow and stress and so on and trying to figure out, how I wound up here again, my conversation had a bit of a negative spin to it, and I was coming off to myself as I listened back to some of the recordings that you and I had made early on back in February.
Yeah.
Which was only about 2 months after the event of finally saying, I can't do this anymore. And I realized that I was also communicating that to the people that I was speaking to. And I was reinforcing that I'm, some victimhood, I wasn't in touch yet quite as clearly as I am now that I made a choice. I jumped into something very quickly that was probably clearly unadvisable. I didn't ask a lot of questions. I believed that history would count for more than it did. And those sort of things were just important illusions to break through. And so now when I'm talking to someone about my past, when I ask a lady out for a coffee, I'm just at the phase where I just want to get to know somebody a little bit, like, who are you? I'm not really that interested in jumping straight into a romantic thing. I'm thinking much more locally and not another long distance issue where I got a built-in stress there that I've endured in my last 3 relationships, including my marriage. So that's a pattern that I really wanted to break, and that's in my choice, So I got very
interesting how you see it differently now than you did then. And that's the whole point of getting somebody to let you, when people work with me and I say, I think it's good if I record your first conversation so that in a few months from now, you can hear the old you and then the process of the healing part of the lessons learned. And then you see your new self and you see the progression and hear it in your own voice. And the voice to a woman, for men anyway, my voice is a little hoarse right now because I talk all day. But what I'm saying is the sound of someone's voice and the way that they articulate words can make you feel such emotion. Like when I deal with sad people, they're very sad, like you were, and it's a downing sort of thing. So when a single person like you going through something is speaking to people, then they feel the downing energy from the voice and the words, and then they repeat that when people say, hey, have you seen Bob or Clayton or Steve or Renee or whatever? Oh man, she's in a shitstorm right now. I don't want to call him right now, or he's sad or whatever.
Yeah, so you wind up chasing people away.
Yeah.
Just by I think what it really is the interpretation of the events that brings, and every cell in our bodies is listening to what we're thinking.
Yeah.
So you've really got to have, and this is what I learned from you, thank you, is some filters, some daily affirmations to say, wait a minute, this is an illusion that I have lost something. I love this analogy. I have a love kitchen.
I know. You told me the Anthony Robbins thing.
Yeah. And it's so true. I could cook up a whole new meal. The love is in me. It's not out there in her.
Yeah.
And I need to give my love as much or more than I need to receive love.
Well, I always say, if you are giving the love that you want to receive, it just naturally shows up. But most people, when they go through a breakup, they spend so much time healing that they're creating a wall around them invisibly because of the things they say to people as they're healing. So I say, that's why people hire people that are outside of, I mean, Clayton and I have been friends, but I even had to have the boundary. Like, if we're going to do this work, that's my work. Let's do it from the real professional purview. So when we did it, he really was serious, and he got to really share from his heart. And now he's trying to say, wow, the languaging that I'm doing now, and when people say, how are you doing? It's a different answer, right? Or even the things you say on dates, because people rush off right before they break up. They're like, friends are go date, go date, go date. And then all of a sudden the person's asking you, so have you been dating anybody? And you're like, you get all scared. And
Well, yeah,
your body language shows that there's something up. The person knows, like, oh no, you know. So haven't you, did people that you've had coffee dates, like, did you see people that were kind of wounded by their words? Or
oh yeah. I met a lady the other day who, a lovely person, but she was actually just disengaging. Why she was on the dating site, I don't know, but
because all her friends told her she should get, set yourself up for some fun time,
I think she had been disengaging from this fellow for some time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it was clear to me as I was sharing a little bit about who I am and what my experience of the last 6 months has been, that we were in a similar phase of just kind of getting ourselves back and filling that spiritual void that we try to fill with another person, when it's really an inside job. It's me feeling much more adequate about where I am and certain projects that I have, as the Italians say, in attesa, where I'm waiting for them to come to fruition. And COVID's not helping, right? Because production
COVID's not helping anybody. No, it's not. People are really, I've been busier than ever helping people, but people are meeting. But it's what you say, the first initial contact. It's like the first initial impression, right? So that's why in my tips, like I'm on Facebook all the time with that, Clayton, I tell people, prepare, get ready for the love to come, as if you knew that the love of your life was going to walk into your life. He could walk into your life at Trader Joe's or wherever you are shopping, or hiding yourself.
Right.
But the thing is, the words that you speak about yourself, most people have never asked themselves the questions and heard the answers that they say about themselves.
Well, hearing yourself in recording too, you begin to get the idea, oh gosh, I do sound kind of down about that. I'm using that negative word like should. I'm shoulding on myself, which implies wrong, right? And but, but. And these subtle words that are sapping one's energy had to go. So I'm saying less words now as I just seek to know in a very loving way, who are you? Do I even know if I want to go out with you in any kind of a romantic context? And frankly, it's fairly rare now. You've made me feel a lot more selective about how I want to spend my time, who I want to give that much of my heart to, because I've seen how challenging it is to get it back once I get all hooked up in the oxytocin and I create a fantasy for myself. And the more I push and try to help the situation, try to save someone else, try to outlast their crisis, whatever it is, it's really energy that's being sucked out of my enjoyment of the relationship. And am I really helping them? Apparently not, because it created a sense of pressure that made her run. And so I have to look at that and go, well, that didn't work. So what does? How do I love someone while letting them feel free, while not selling myself out? So that's the new paradigm that I'm looking at. The next relationship that I end in, it might take a year, it might take 2, I don't know.
Kind of happens. It kind of is a magical thing, because if anyone reads Get Real About Love, which is right here, it's really about the way you're thinking, because most people will say, well, I'm going to give myself a year or 2 to get over this. And I'm like, okay, well, while you're doing that, are you going to be happy? What are you saying to people? I'm taking a break from love. Now you're 40 years old, you want love, or any age. People tell me this all the time. And I'm like, well, why don't you just stay open to the unlimited possibilities that could happen? because, you know, I didn't expect to meet my husband the way I met him. It could happen to Clayton any minute, any time. You know, like there was a gentleman I was working with. He had been with someone for 5 years. He knew he wasn't going to marry her. And he learned how to speak in a way through working with me to let her go with love. Like what we talked about on one of our segments. And if you go on our YouTube channel, you'll see the way you treat relationships, and that's why it's important to learn to articulate who you are now, where you are. That's why the phases of love, if you go back to our videos, everyone's in a phase. He was in a healing phase.
Right.
Now you're in a different phase. You're in the reinvention, and you're speaking your future into existence by what you say.
I'm being very careful about it. So when I present myself, and mind you, it's the electronic street out there.
Yeah.
There's women all over the map in terms of how they're judging you, their personal taste, or how they're evaluating you.
Yeah.
I had one gal the other day thought I was just full of myself because I wore a cowboy hat.
Next,
And,
you know, like you have to know yourself so well. I mean, I'm kind of a gypsy style, you know. I went out on so many dates. I was a professional dater. That's why I teach people how to do it before and I had a lot of fun. But your attitude and the things you say, oh, you know, online dating sucks, you know, Tinder and Bumble, all these suck.
yeah.
No, it's an experience. Just make it short. Don't draw out the whole
don't
thing.
get hung up in things that are. I'm really learning to trust my intuitive knowing. That's too far. This person's got a negative point of view. There's no chemistry here. You know, I'm not wasting time.
Yeah.
But it's interesting just to swing the bat a little bit and go, here's a person.
Yeah.
And
but the things you ask on dates are actually in this book. So that
it's written out here.
You can actually ask questions.
I'm looking at
find out. They're all over the book. I mean, I have them everywhere. These are, first you have to know, how do you communicate about yourself on your online profile, when you talk to people on the phone. Have you heard your voice? Have you ever listened to your stupid voice recording? I call people all back all the time. Hi, this is Bob. Really like to talk to you. You know, get back to me, leave your number. Bye. That's somebody I really wouldn't be like enthusiastic to call back. So these are clients. So I call them back and I go, hey, Bob, it's me, Renee, the love designer. How you doing? I just have a suggestion after listening to your voicemail. You need to put some, you know, rhythm in your voice, baby. You know, use your voice. You're seducing a woman. Like, instead of saying, you know, get back to me and we'll set something up, why don't you call and say, hey, this is Bob, and I know we're not supposed to be going out on dates, but there is this outdoor Italian place that's very beautiful. We could meet there for lunch on, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, because I'm not working, whatever. Make an action plan. But it's the way you say it. It's what you say. So this topic goes on and on because it says, explore yourself. You have to know the things you love about yourself. Because I used to ask people I said, what makes you fun? And these guys would sit there and they go, you know, I don't even know if I am fun. And I said, well, if you don't know you're fun, then you must be boring. And then he goes, I think I am. And he goes, sometimes I get a little bored with my life. I said, well, if you're bored, that means you're boring. You know, it's just, that's what my mom always used to say, because I'd say, I'm bored. She goes, well, if you're bored, you're boring. Go do something.
I might language it a little differently. I might go, you know, what do you do that is really joyful for you? Well, how do you have fun? I would make it a non-pejorative question.
No, it's just like, what do you do for fun? Like, what are the things you enjoy, you know? And they would look up, like they had to think about it. Like, I'd like, wow, you know? And then when they said it, they couldn't articulate it. So it's good to practice questions. It's like if you were going on an interview, which you are when you date. Basically, at Rapid Dating, I used to see people sit down and I said, don't bring a long list. Have it in your mind. Be genuine when you look at somebody.
Don't grill somebody.
Are you married? Would you want to get married? Do you want a committed? Those things happen over time. You'd be joyful and fun. And people used to interrogate people at the events. And they'd say, I just don't know why I didn't meet anybody. And I said, well, you had like a list and it seemed like that you were like it was too rough of an interview for a first interview, you know, and they
Yeah, you
didn't
feel
get
like
it.
someone feels
It's
like
just
they're being
people get
interrogated.
nervous. So it's, what is your unique sound effect? What if somebody, you know, like I teach networking, and basically dating is networking. So you walk up to somebody, you go, oh, it's, well, right now we bump elbows. Hey, hi.
No, I don't do
So, you know, what do you do when you meet these girls? Do you
that.
say hello?
Well,
Do you
I mean, generally in public, my favorite greeting is namaste. You know, it's a yoga greeting. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. So I think it's a very beautiful sort of a Hindu way of not touching, but showing maximum respect.
Yeah, so some women might think that's a little too much if you went, you know,
Oh yeah, this
it's
gal
a
who didn't
little
like
too
my
much.
cowboy
I
hat.
wouldn't do that on the first date. I would just, because it makes that, maybe they think you're, I don't know. It, when I saw you do it, I like that because I go to a church that does that kind of thing. But not all women in the first time would see the divine in you. Or if you said that to me in the first minute, I would think, wow, I don't even know him yet. How does he know the divine in me yet? Maybe at the end you could say, wow, I can really see who you are. But you don't see who
Maybe,
they are.
maybe.
I don't know. That's
I,
just my opinion.
again, I,
That's the whole point. Everyone has their own opinion, what turns them on. So when somebody isn't turned on to you, that's okay. They're just not for you. They're not appointed for you.
yeah, sure.
And then you never know. And this is my favorite thing is when I went out to meet men, I'd go early and then I'd always meet other men because I was hanging out and they would say, you know, I would just look over and wave or read the paper, or whatever I was doing, waiting. And then and they go, are you on a blind date? You know, are you meeting somebody? Are you on a match.com date? And I said, yeah. And they're like, you're single? And I'd say, yeah. And I can't believe it. You know, and then they go, well, call me. So I'd have 2 dates for the price of one, but I would only meet people for 30 minutes or an hour. And then I'd say, why don't we meet for a quick coffee or tea or walk or whatever, meet somewhere where there's people, and then we'll see how it goes. If there's a feeling, we'll go forward. But I never would just walk away from somebody. I was never mean, but you know, in pretty much in the first
Oh, I
5
think within
minutes.
30 seconds, you know, you
Yeah.
have a pretty clear idea whether there's positive pheromones going on or if the package is just not turning you on, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
at least at
The
a,
look, so the style. So some women like men that are really casual. Other women like men that are more, you know, really clean cut,
polished, perhaps.
polished. But,
Well,
you know, depending on the date and where you're going, you know, I always just say, I'm coming casual, you know, I kind of set it up for success before I even went. And then I had no expectations. And I say, I'm not going to come. You look very nice. But a lot of times they didn't look like they looked online. So you have to be very specific. But the whole point is, what do you say on dates? What do you say on dates about yourself, about your current love situation? Because people do ask you, oh, so are you dating? And you could say, yeah, I was, you know, have you been in any long-term relationship? What is Clayton going to say? Well, you know, I had my ex-wife and then I met this one and that one. Well, it was like a 3-year period of juggling, went from one to another, you know, whatever you
what are you
say.
asking
So
me?
I'm teasing you. But you've admitted it on this that you found, you know, broke up with your wife and you found someone, and then when you broke up with her, you found someone, and it does happen that way. That's why I'm saying to people,
Yeah, quite a
sometimes it can
common pattern.
happen,
Yeah.
you know, it can happen easily, but don't think of it being hard, but it's your openness and the way you articulate where you are in your life right now to God, to yourself. So I always say, everything you're thinking, everything you're saying, and everything you're praying, instead of going, God, when am I going to find love? How about, God, I'm open, you know, I'm ready. I've done my work.
Yeah.
I learned the
Positive
lesson.
spin.
You know, I learned my lesson from this last girl who was wonderful, this last man who wasn't ready. Thank you for protecting me from getting involved to, you know, now my heart, can you see I'm ready? I was committed. I wanted to do this, like, woo. So I used to go to the beach and then I used to yell at God and I'd say, I'm getting a little frustrated with you. I'm getting a little impatient because I've done a lot of good for other people. It's my turn. So I always told people, I said, I'm getting married. And they said, to who? I said, I don't know, but I'm ready to do that.
Why were you frustrated with the guys you met at the beach?
No, God, I wasn't frustrated with
Oh,
the men I met at the beach. I used to go to the beach and say,
oh, you
I'm
were frustrated
ready. And
with
then
God.
And I would talk about it to other people. I want this, I want a family man. Like they'd, instead of talking about what you lost, talk about what you're looking to attract. So I want somebody fun, family oriented, that is spiritual, but not too out there, that loves his family. That was my number one thing. It wasn't like, where do you live? What kind of car do you drive? Where, what do you want? And just the tone, like critical, critical, critical. It was like, I want somebody to see my crazy life that I have and see if we fit, because you have a lifestyle, Clayton. You have a unique lifestyle. I do too. And that person has to say, come and see my life. Let me show you who I am. I'll show you. I would like to find out who you are, because you sounded interesting online. So let me ask you, how did you get into doing what you do? That's what I like to ask people. What made you be a doctor? What made you be an actor? What made, and then you understand more
and
about
ask somebody, what is it that you want from life? Is a very open-ended question that can take the responder into a whole host of, this is what I value. This is what brings fulfillment in my life. And I learn a ton about who someone is by learning what they value.
Yeah.
So that's a favorite question of mine. And really what's interesting right now is rather than making the focus even a romantic excursion, which I'm just starting to feel like I'm, open to, and I'm not too sure about that. But I even talk to women that I meet in Trader Joe's or at the beach or what have you. I go every day, that I have no attraction to at all. They might be, a grandmother walking her dog or something. I just enjoy talking to women in general, in particular, and just having fun with them, flirting with them, joking with them, and
that's my flirting with life techniques. That's you were flirting with life. But you were giving love to people, complimenting people and connecting with people is so needed at this time during Corona.
Right.
And you saying good morning to a woman that you weren't particularly trying to pick up, you're just being kind. You look lovely today, or whatever you said that made her sparkle. You give people energy. It's giving love to other people. But then that opens the door for people to feel safe to talk to you. Doing it makes people feel it. They feel the love when you do that, when it's genuine.
So this becomes, rather than a romantic, needy place or something that I think people can smell on each other with a little bit of time, it becomes, hey, let me just come on the give and let me see. My favorite mantra right now in my meditation is, as I let go of the need to manage my life and force solutions, the universe brings abundant good to me. Mm-hmm. That's a very powerful mantra.
I love it. I love it. And I have, we're going to have to talk about another subject, these subjects in other shows, because visioning, and I teach vision classes and the speaking thing. I love when I teach my flirting classes live, which I will be doing soon. And there is a day that's coming up, and I want you to be involved, where I'm going to get a panel of 5 men, married, single, even you, to talk about sex, love, commitment, and what makes men run, and invite, men and women to come and talk about it openly. It is rock star when it's live. I've done big events like this, and it's a Get Real About Love experience. So I think we're going to have to wrap it up today. The most important thing is, I think, Clayton, all of this about the things you're thinking, just what he just said, saying that opens up doors. And when I started saying, I'm getting married to an extraordinary man that loves my family, that is exactly who I met. And it was almost like I felt, but in my book, there's a whole chapter, and Clayton, I know you've read it, but this could be the key of us talking for our next show, could be about the vision that you have, using words to articulate it, not only to yourself, but to other people. And then I have all these little rituals that you can do to bring love into your life sooner. And I used to do it, and people thought I was completely nuts. I think I mentioned it, but it's in this book, Get Real About Love. Align your vision. So it's not, but today's lesson is about what you speak. So if people say, well, what are you looking for? You could
Yeah.
say, I want
What's your
blah, blah,
vision?
blah. Yeah. So practice your speaking and be aware this week and write to us about this. Become aware of the words that come out of your mouth about love. And when you hear what he just said, it really like opens you up. Like, what am I saying about what I'm creating? What are you saying to other people?
Right.
Because it's like, I don't think I'm going to date for men are assholes, women are the men are this. I hear it all day long. I've given up on love. I don't trust in love. Those are things that keep love way at a distance, or I'm too
Those are
busy.
thoughts of despair,
Yeah.
where people have lost hope. They've been hurt so much,
Yeah.
and we've all been hurt. But I think the magnitude of it gets exaggerated by the way we, swirl in our own self-pity pool rather than go, what choices did I make? How can I do better? And the thing I love about Renee's book is that it's not just a read through, got it. No, I go back and I look at that page that really, and there's pages and pages of affirmations that teach you how to spin your experience in a positive way. I'm grateful for all the joy that I got to share with this person, even for a short period of time comparatively. And even though it was sort of a resort, summer love kind of experience, I experienced a lot of love. I shared a lot of love. And thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity to love.
Yeah.
And
it makes you actually even connect with people from your past too that knew you well. And I want to wrap this up because we have to go. I am going to be involved in a big expo, and I think we're going to put this up maybe even today. I think people would be ready for it, but because they miss us. There's an expo coming up called the Best You Expo, and it's done all over the world. And I've been involved with Bernardo Moya, who's this amazing man who's one of the top NLP trainers like Anthony Robbins around the world, and he hosts these events. And I've been involved since the beginning, and I love him. Love you, Bernardo. But this event, I have free tickets to it until Tuesday. So I'm going to invite Clayton to it, but I'm speaking about all of this, and it is so important. I'm also doing a rapid networking so you can meet people all around the world. So be looking for these types of things, because right now I have life and love lessons about how to have deeper love. Clayton and I were talking about deeper love on our last session, and that is what my whole life is dedicated to make people, married people, single people. And even now during the corona, everyone has to dig deeper to send more love out because people need it really bad. Don't you feel it, Clayton, as we wrap up? That when you go out and you're smiling, like you're looking around and you feel
you definitely stand
there's a
out.
heaviness. There's a heaviness.
People are very sober, shall we say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been doing these crazy videos on Facebook telling people to smile. People can see your eyes. They know you're smiling, or compliment people. But check out Best You Expo. I will put the link on this video. And it's starting August 1st to the 7th. It's a 7-day thing you can watch anytime. And it's, I'm going to be doing my, deeper love on Friday at noon. And then I'm doing rapid networking at 12 o'clock on, Thursday at noon, and Friday at noon. I'm at 12 o'clock. At the Best You Expo. And I think the price of the ticket is only $29, but it's 7 days and you can just come on. There are speakers, some of the most amazing speakers. I'm so honored to be asked. And mine is love. Love is one of the most things the world needs right now, more than ever. And it starts with you. So speak positively about yourself. Clayton, thank you for endorsing this work, but it's really important. And I have to practice it myself, Things go up and down, and people are struggling, but we have to lead people with our voices, our kindness, and our love. And watch your unique sound effect and listen to your voice, listen to your recordings. Record yourself talking about dating. Like if you're with a bunch of friends, just push the button and listen to what everybody says. And it's pretty cool when you really look at who you're surrounding yourself with and what you're saying to people that makes them talk behind your back. So choose the people you share your deep heart subjects with wisely. Right, Clay?
And I would suggest what I have found really valuable is to choose the people that have now the kind of relationship that I would like to have, because they know how to do it.
Yeah. I've been with Joe for 18 years, everyone, and
I
I
love Joe.
was a single Wonder Woman, and it took my mother's near death to slow me down. I'm inviting you not to do what I did, to try and make it to the top. And that's what the corona has done, is make people look at what is most important in your life. Friendship, love, family, your faith in yourself, even during these challenging times, and reaching to new levels in your own heart. So if your heart is going through a breakup right now, or your heart broken and you've given up, this is a good time to do this deep work. It's pretty heavy duty stuff, Clayton, and he's been sharing it. So if this is your first time watching us, go back to the beginning on our YouTube channels. You'll see all the links below, and you can go through the phases, because it's a process. And this is what my life is dedicated to, helping people have an open heart. And look at this beautiful man. Pretty soon, I'm predicting that he'll meet someone and he'll be just like, this was worth looking into himself. Look into yourself, not what the other person did. Look at the patterns, the love lineage. And it is an adventure that I'm trying to make into a movie. So I'm speaking this right now on this show, that's my next goal. And I have a few people that are interested, because my life I was damaged. I had a damaged little heart, and you can go to my TEDx and watch little Renee, and Clayton had a damaged little heart too. And he has gotten to the other side of it to now choose someone that's extraordinary to make your life extraordinary by knowing yourself.
Well, it's really just opening your heart to something that's healthy, choosing something that is really intuitively feels sound. And what the work that I've done is really allowing God to fill that hole in me, not another person. So when I do get involved again, it will be from a much healthier platform and not needing this person to complete me in any way.
Wow. See, what he just said is super powerful. Yay. Amen. I mean, when you listen to him 6 months ago and now, it's transformation that anyone can do, but it isn't someone else that's going to, like Tom Cruise movie where the girls, he said, you complete me.
Yeah, it's so full of fairy tales.
You complete me. No, you
look
are
at
a
his forest
lifestyle
born,
match. It's it doesn't have to be perfect, but I have to say, I feel like my marriage I always wanted a marriage that sort of role modeled extraordinary love. And I always say to my husband, you're extraordinary. He really is. And I waited, and I knew that I would find that person, because we have the same value system about helping people in the world, making a difference, and being our families and friends come first. So we have sort of vows, and we renew our vows every year and get married every year. So I invite all of you to have sacred love, read Get Real About Love, stay tuned for more shows about it, because everybody wants next topic of sex, all about dating and sex. So it's pretty spicy. So stay tuned to our next show. And Clayton, I love you. I'm so proud of you.
Love you, Renee.
And I'm holding the vision for you. And I just can't wait to meet this lovely woman. So imagine her, what it's going to be like with you and her. Go back to the exam, the vision your life chapter. It's really cool. And they'll give you all these things you can do. So we'll talk about that more. Stay tuned for our next love tips. We're here to help. And God bless us all. So keep opening your heart to love and get real about love in your own heart. Bye. God bless us. We're doing good. I'm so happy that we're doing this. God bless everyone.